an aside, we sent some students to monitor the special elections in Marawi, Lanao del Sur. Around 13 lawyers and law students, many of them from Medina, went there, were exposed to all the problems in Lanao del Sur. Many of them were traumatized, but because of that experience, we have many more students now joining our preparations for this year's elections. And in this year's elections, we are preparing to not only monitor but also to deploy in partnership with many other groups like CPCRB, NAMPREL, CBCP, NASA. And our contribution to this effort is really mainly on the issue of accountability. Every elections, many groups come up with reports of cheating, documented cheating, and many of these are published, and many of us are made aware of cheating. But what is really done to go after the cheaters? Not much. And we are hoping that in the coming elections, we will go after the cheaters. So accountability is a very important issue for Lente in the coming elections. That is why we are targeting over 100 law schools, trying to form a chapter in each of these law schools so that we will have presence in all cities, provinces, and regions around the country, so that law students in partnership with lawyers and other groups can not only help monitor the coming elections, but also to go after cheaters. We are challenging the different groups. If we prepare to help you draft affidavits, file complaints, go to court, can you please provide complainants and witnesses? That is our challenge to them. And my target really is, if in each of these law schools, students become aware of the human rights violations that take place during the election period, maybe many of them will be persuaded to also set up human rights centers, so that human rights lawyering, alternative lawyering for many of these law schools will not only be during elections, but will continue throughout the year, year in, year out, whether or not there are elections. What are some of our challenges? Logistics, finance. Many of the parents of our volunteers, lawyers, law students cannot really understand why they are involved in this kind of advocacy. There is no money there. The mindsets of relatives have to be changed. Also of classmates, of those colleagues in the legal profession and the public. Many of them think that if you are engaged in this kind of lawyering, you must be a communist, you must be a leftist, you must be an activist. So this is a road test taken. Many of us are not really well understood. Even up to now, my parents do not really understand what I am doing. But as long as they see me sometimes in the press, they are happy. And yet, despite all these challenges, I am happy to inform you that the tribe continues to increase. There are many more wanting to volunteer to this kind of advocacy. And our objective really is to mainstream alternative lawyering, so that in the future, when people talk about lawyering, what is lawyering? It can mean lawyering for corporations, it can mean lawyering in the Supreme Court, it can mean lawyering maybe with legislators, but it can also mean lawyering for the poor. All of these are part of mainstream lawyering. So I do not really have much time, but this is my story. I invite you to join us in these efforts, in this journey, by not only supporting us, partnering with us, but also maybe after this you can also visit our booth outside. Thank you very much.
Now may I call on Atty. Marlon Manuel to give a sharing.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon. We were told specifically by Dr. Alran Bengson to just tell our story. And I have a long story. And to manage the time, I'll divide it into three sub-stories. So we have a trilogy, so please bear with me. Let me start by saying that I am a product of the Ateneo Law School, and I am a product of the Ateneo Human Rights Center. Earlier, Attorney Carlos Medina mentioned the programs of the center, and I participated during my sophomore year in law school in an immersion program during the sem break of my second year. And we were assigned as immersionists in a place called Ayusan Dos in Chaong, Quezon. It's on top of a hill. It's a farming community in Chaong, Quezon. And that gave me a perspective that I would say I did not get from many of my law school classroom discussion sessions. That gave me a glimpse of what it would mean to be a lawyer for the poor. That also led me to try other things, to try alternative lawyering. So when I took an internship program, and it is a very good program of the law school because this allows students to be exposed to lawyering in different aspects while they are still students. I worked in Saligan during the summer of my junior year. So people were expecting me to go into alternative lawyering after graduation. I was very active in school. I had been involved in many extracurricular activities. I was with the student council. So people were predicting I would go into alternative lawyering. I would go into, I would work with the Human Rights Center. I would work with Saligan, but I did not. I attempted to evade the calling. And instead, I joined a law office. And it was not just a law office, it's the biggest law office in the Philippines. It's CSIP Salazar, Hernandez, and Catmaytan. I spent my first 1.5 years as a lawyer, as a young associate in CSIP Salazar. And that's my first part of the story. That's the prequel. I enjoyed my work in CSIP, and I do not regret having joined the firm. In fact, if some of my students would ask me, would you recommend a law office? I would say CSIP Salazar. If you would want to try a law office, then go to CSIP Salazar. And you would have a very good time. I had a good time working in the law office. But there were many things that led me to think and to rethink my options in life. And among the many things, I would just want to mention one item. As a young associate, I was very fortunate to be involved in a number of big cases that we were handling at the law office. It was a litigation. It was a corporate suit. And the parties were the husband and wife, a foreigner husband and a Filipino wife, quarreling over their corporate assets, quarreling over a building and the corporation's properties. The law office was the counsel for the foreigner husband. And in one of the meetings that we had for the case, I was asked by the senior lawyers with the partners to accompany the representative of the client to the building, to the office of the corporation to get some documents. That was a very simple assignment I was thinking at that time. It turned out it was not that simple after all, because the building was being guarded at that time by 3 sets of security guards. 1 set of security guards working for the husband, 1 set working for the wife, and the 3rd set working for the bank, because the bank was a creditor, and the bank was also interested in the building and in the corporate assets. So we went there, we went to the building. When we arrived at the building, the security guards, loyal to the husband, approached us and told us, we would escort you so you can go inside. The security guards, loyal to the wife, started blocking the entrance to the building. And they told us, you cannot enter. We had instructions not to allow you. And I particularly remember one security guard belonging to that group of security guards of the wife. And his name, I read his name patch, and it was Benigno Aquino, named after Senator Dinan. And they had their long firearms, and it was a very tension-filled situation because of the 3 sets of his security guards having different interests that they were protecting. And so after